everybody, and welcome back to my channel where we're once again doing some speed drawing. However, for the first time, I think the first time in a long time, I'm drawing some original characters here for you. Why do I say that? Well, why did I say some? I'm drawing one. Now, my patron, James Salter, requested this as a video, but also requested that I draw this on Twitch. Now, who is this delightful little chibi character with horns and long pointy elven ears? This character is a mythical character in my novel series that I was writing that I haven't done any more of because Star Wars has stolen my brain. And her name is the Queen of Blood and Bone. So I have written many different things about this storyline, and originally there was, it goes back many thousands of years to the origins of the planet. There were two races on the planet. There were the demons and there were the Kriznik. Now, these two interbred in the beginning to create a species called the Fae, or what we would call the Fae. I don't think I ever ended up coming up with a name that they had for themselves. Now, the demons decided that they wanted to use their children to destroy the Kriznik in the end. I never actually figured out why. It was just along the lines of they wanted all the power, and they assumed that the Krizniks did because the Krizniks were generally kind to their children, the Fae, and didn't particularly want to enslave them, wanted to leave the planet to them. The Krizniks were getting old and tired and knew that their powers were dying off. They weren't becoming so strong, and this is where humans come in. And they were eventually becoming us, essentially, and they were happy with this. They understood evolution and things like that. But the reason that this was happening was because the demons had cursed them, because they wanted their powers. They didn't just want the power of the spirit and the magical, they wanted the power of the physical, because the Krizniks were stronger than them physically. And so they used their Fae children to start a war. And because of this war, the demons were essentially banished to another plane of existence, and the Kriznik were nearly wiped out, down to like a handful. And the Fae were left to take over the world and look after they're essentially siblings, half-siblings, the humans, and that's what they decided to do. Until the humans got, the way they always do, too big for their bloody boots. The humans were actively taking over from the Fae. While they didn't have as much magic as the Fae, they had a lot more, I'm going to say, cognitive abilities, because while Fae have imagination, they don't really use tools the way that we use tools. They're very attracted to that in a lot of the stories or the traditional folklore, so I thought I'd stick with that. So humans had technology, Fae had magic, and technology for some weird reason tends to trump magic. So the Fae were starting to go the way of the demons, being sent not necessarily into another plane of existence, but they were just dying out and being killed. So they decided that they were going to take some of the humans and they were going to create two new sub-races to start a war on the humans and hopefully take over and not have to worry about being supplanted. These two races are the vampires, vampires, and werewolves. So in my world, the difference between the vampires and a werewolf is a werewolf can create itself. So you get bitten by a werewolf, you're going to become a werewolf. And they were used as shock troopers, and essentially you'd send a werewolf into a village, they would bite everybody or kill people, and then you'd have a whole new army to send against the next row of humans. The thing is, because werewolves were not bound to their Fae masters by any reason other than the fact that, hey, you can now turn into a wolf, have some magic, they rebelled against their Fae overlords and went into hiding from both the Fae and the humans. For obvious reasons, they'd attacked both of them, so at this point they were kind of like, oh, we kind of need to settle down and not worry about this. And the vampires, unlike werewolves, vampires, if you get bitten by a vampire, you're not going to become a vampire. It's a lot more intricate to become a vampire. Now, you are bound to your Fae, which is why there are so many different vampires with so many different magical abilities. If your Fae is particularly physically strong, can regenerate wounds, congratulations, you are going to be able to do that. If they can mind control, you are going to be able to do that. If they are a fae that can control the elements, you are going to be able to do that. But if your fae master dies, you die too. So the fae are the ones that create vampires, and they decide how many vampires are born and all that kind of thing. So where does the Queen of Blood and Bone come into it? Well, she is a Kriznik, apparently. One of the last reborn Kriznik queens. And she is destined to reunite the humans, the werewolves, and the vampires and lead them into peace with the fae. She's supposedly a very, very powerful figure in history. She has the ability to mind control, raise the dead, heal the living, very charismatic person, and the only rule that everyone is aware of is that she has to have died at some point. Now, this is very interesting considering that Krizniks are no longer of this world, so the entire novel series is essentially the finding of the Queen of Blood and Bone. But we don't know this at the beginning of the novel series because we're following Detective Evelyn Shepherd as she solves her own murder. That's the first book. That's it. Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling about this character because I could go on about this book series for forever and a day, even though I've only written one book. It's only been edited once, it needs another edit, and I'm halfway through writing the second book, but it's not very good. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks once again to James for requesting it. I hope to see you next time, guys. Take care, have fun, and goodbye.